Finally, we have Dr. Pataranutaporn from MIT discuss from artificial intelligence AI to intelligent augmentation IA, Cyborg, Buddhism, and the quest for enlightenment. Please take the floor.
Hi, everyone. Hello. It's an honor to be here and to be the closing speaker. Thanks to the Honorable Yifa for inviting me here. So the topic of my talk is going to be on Cyborg Buddhism with a question mark, from artificial intelligence to intelligence augmentation. So the original title that Yifa gave me was, Can AI help us attain enlightenment? And because I'm unenlightened, I cannot speak about this. So sorry, I cannot talk about this. But what I can talk about is how do we think about AI clearly, and that will help us think about the future of AI. I think we have heard many AI today. I don't know how many times AI has been mentioned, but I think one of the difficulty of talking about AI today is that it's at the intersection of fact, fiction, and the future. It's about what AI is today, what AI is imagined to be, and what AI could be in the future. And to kind of warn you, the future doesn't need to follow the fiction, right? There are many ways that the future can go. So we have heard many presentations, many narratives, many ways of knowing. I want to quote Donna Haraway, who said that it matters what story we tell to tell author's story. What thought, think thought, what story make world, and what world make story. It's really important that we understand this so that we understand how we kind of understand things. To start this, I want to talk about the older technology, camera, right? When camera was invented in 1926, people that talk about this technology say that, at the time, a lot of people believed that camera can steal people's soul. Every time you take a picture, your soul is sucked into the picture, right? And now, we kind of learn better about what camera technology is about. But what this showed to me is that we always develop mythology around new technology, right? We always use our imagination to fill in the gap of the unknown. So now we understand better. We know that every time we take picture, we capture the photon, right? The light and shadow. You're not actually capturing the person, but now the person can, smile a little bit because we have AI, right? We capture the data. But the principle is still the same, that you need to make a distinction between a person and a representation, right? These two are not the same, even though it's becoming more and more realistic. And according to Buddhism, right, a person is also an illusion. So you're talking about a representation of illusion, right? So you need to not confuse the two together. Cliff Nass and Byron Reeve have shown that even if people know that they're talking to computer, they often anthropomorphize it, make them more human than it is, right? We use language to call computer, call it he, she, or use human adjective or human verbs like learning to talk about technology. In our study, we shows that we look at what happened when people have belief about AI. This is a study we did at MIT. Basically, we give the same exact AI to 3 groups of people, but we tell them differently. In one group, we told people that the AI is a code, a computer code. One group, we told people that the AI was empathetic. And the last group, we told people that the AI was manipulative. It tried to, trick you. And what we show here is that the way that people evaluate AI, whether they trust it or not, is not based on the actual AI, because all of these groups have the same AI, but based on what they believe the AI is, right? So people evaluate the AI not for what it is, objectively, but rather what they think it is. And we see this consistently across different metrics. But what is really interesting is that the human behavior and the AI behavior correspond with one another. If you believe AI is caring, you use more positive language toward the AI, make the AI more positive, and create the feedback loop. If you believe AI is manipulative, you become more negative toward AI, and AI become more negative toward you, and also create a feedback loop, right? So when you think about the AI behavior, it's about these 2 things, right? The human biases and the AI biases reinforcing one another. Whether or not AI is sentient is not as important as whether AI ability to convince you is sentient, right? The system doesn't need to be intelligent to convince you it's intelligent. That's what our study have revealed. I use this quote from Richard Feynman saying, the first principle is that you must not fool yourself. and you are the easiest person to fool, right? And I juxtapose that with this picture of the temptation of Buddha, where he needs to see through the illusion created by the evil, right? So I think that's really important to really see the AI for what it is. Technology is neither good nor bad, nor is neutral. There are many ways that we can engage with technology. Since the beginning of the field of AI, this is at MIT with Professor Marvin Minsky, who was one of the founder of AI, modern AI research. There's always two camps of AI research. One group, AI, focus on making smart system, and the other group, IA, focus on intelligence augmentation. So you can switch AI to IA, and it's about how do you make systems that support human intelligence rather than become intelligent by itself. These are some of the people that have pioneered this field. You may not recognize any of them, but one of the person is actually the Oppenheimer boss, right, Vannevar Bush. And these are really important research that really show that there are many ways to talk about technology in the future. So my research group at MIT Media Lab focus on how do we use technology to augment human capability. We go beyond intelligence augmentation and thinking about how AI could help with human flourishing. And we work on different type of project, help flourishing on Earth and in space. This is a project we collaborate with NASA. It's kind of interesting because when I was in space, actually, I feel that I don't have the physical body. My body kind of disappear. And we also work on systems that help us reflect, create representation of a person. So you can see an older, a younger, or different version of me, which I will talk a little bit about. Yeah. This is based on the concept of cyborg, which is not a science, which is actually from a scientific field beyond it, enter into Hollywood and become a science fiction concept. The purpose of cyborg is to free human using technology as part of the human body to free us to explore, to create, to think, and to feel. So the ultimate goal of cyborg is not to turn human into some sort of robot, but to use technology to make us more human than ever. That is a novel goal that has been proposed in 1960. So our work have been using this concept of cyborg for human augmentation. One project we look at wearable device that help human become more rational, right? We are always, distracted in the modern world. How we can make systems that nudge us to become more critical. So this is a project that we use AI embedded in wearable device, not to provide the answer or what is right or what is wrong, but to nudge us by helping us identify when we are encountering information that have no evidence or no reasons. And the system will sort of prompt us to kind of think for ourselves whether that is reasonable or not by giving sort of question or providing feedback. And we have shown that it actually indeed can make people become more rational. They agree more with statements that are reasonable, and so on. Another example that we think about how AI can augment human cognitive capabilities is, instead of using AI to give the answer, you can use the AI in the Socratic method to ask the question instead. So help people arrive at the answer themselves, right? Not to provide the answer and create all the reliance, but frame the information in a way that you can sort of start to think about it and engage about it. And we have shown that this approach actually works better than AI giving you the answer because you're not thinking, right? By framing information as question, it's engage your critical thinking process. Another example that we work on, and I think this is really fascinating, is to help people reflect on their life. So this is me and a future version of me. This is, a future you, a project where we try to simulate the future version of that person to help them make connection between the action that they're doing now and the consequence that they might have in the future. And you can see the multiple version of me. My parent would think one is more than enough. But by doing this, you kind of create, help people realize that their identity or the idea of self is illusion, right? Because you can use AI to make multiple versions. And you can also have that AI reflect on your life experience as well. And we encourage people when they use this system to kind of go back and see if they make different life choices, how would that influence the projection of the future? And we told people that these are not prophecies. AI cannot know the future, but it can be the tool that help you reflect on what that future might look like. And we have, in our study, we have shown that people become less anxious and become sort of more of a long-term thinker. So they're not confined by the self-interest of today, but can think in the longer term, which I think is really, really important, as you can see from our study. And it's really interesting. So this project right now has been sort of talked about in many places. It recently entered China, as my friend just showed me. So you can actually go and try that as well. And I was really fascinated by this statue, this iconography of Buddhism, where you talk about how human or the ideal wisdom is to be able to look from multiple perspectives, right? You can have an AI future, past, be with you, so you can make decisions based on different versions of yourself, and maybe that help you better self-reflect and gain a wider spectrum of wisdom. So here, what I'm showing is that AI doesn't need to be intelligent, kind, or caring to help us becoming more intelligent, kind, or caring, right? I really like the symbol of the Chinese scholar rock, right? That, the rock is not intelligent, but it helped the scholar reflect and through that process gain more wisdom. So we should not, anthropomorphize or fantasize about AI for what it's not, but rather understand the limitation and can design around it and create what I call intelligent augmentation instead. So these are two different goals, right? Making technology that's smarter, or go the opposite way and use technology to make humans smarter. AI and IA are two different sides of the same coin, but it's really important to focus on the goal. So again, this is the concept of cyborg, which is to make human be more human than ever. So now bringing back to the concept of Buddhism, can we imagine the future of cyborg monk, right? Can we think about the future of Buddhism practitioner that are sort of integrating themselves with technology in a way that support their thinking, not just making AI become enlightened by itself, but using this as a tool to augment our capability to understand and better understand ourselves. So there are many challenges, right? There are many technology that you can make, but there are also many challenges for cyborg monk in the future as well. In the future, there would be 10,000 Yifa, right? And Yifa bot will be created. So I think that as technologists and cyborg monk need to think about this, right? These are a challenge of our time, the challenge of the future. One version of Yifa would say, well, Buddhism needs to create weapons to protect human against alien. How would the monk or Buddhist practitioner in the future be able to distinguish which are the true teaching of the Buddha as these AI-generated texts enter into our public or collective consciousness? We did a study looking at what happened when people receive explanation from AI. So AI did not just give us information, but try to justify and convince us that certain information is true or false. We have shown that when the AI provides fake explanation, fake description of what something, it actually makes people trust correct information less and trust false information more. This is really dangerous because it's not just a misinformation, it's a misexplanation that go one step further. And the second challenge that the cyborg monk need to face is the growing attention economy and the future of economy, right? Maybe people would put Buddhism in the same category of AI services, right? The logo kind of similar a little bit between AI and Buddhism symbol, right? Maybe the subscription would be almost the same price. Would you go for AI or would you go for Buddhism for $20 per month? AI could have guarantee entertainment, where Buddhism, no guarantee enlightenment. AI could say upgrade every day, and Buddhism say meditate every day. And finally, AI is NVIDIA, right? And Buddhism is Nirvana. Maybe it's similar to NVIDIA, which is becoming very valuable now. The stock is crazy, right? So would people put this in the same category, right? We did this experiment in 2019 before AI was cool. It's very funny that some of the speakers use the same term. I guess Buddha bot is an attractive term. But we did this experiment in 2019 where we make a chatbot of Buddhism based on Buddhism text and release it in the internet. And we want to see, from the sort of social science perspective, what kind of conversation do people talk about? And you can see from the analysis that 40% of people talk to the Buddhism chatbot about their lifestyle, right? Only 36%, less than that talk about the actual Buddhism lesson or content. So if people treat this Buddha bot as like, life consultant or, tool that help them become more happy, then this can be taken into AI or other type of chatbot, right? So I think it's a mistake that we reduce Buddhism, into this sort of capitalistic service, right? At MIT, we talk about against reductionism. We need to think about how do we, go beyond technological-driven society, right? So I hope Buddhism would not be reduced into this kind of service because Buddhism might not be as attractive to AI if you play in this capitalism game. So again, these are powerful future, right, stories, right? We tell story because, we can think about future story. I hope that, this helps serve as a point of reflection. I would end with, the kind of exciting project that I have worked on. So beyond being a scientist at MIT, I also collaborate with Netflix on science fiction, right? How many people know Black Mirror? Okay, wow, a lot of people know Black Mirror, right? It's a very powerful sci-fi anthology. So I collaborate with Netflix to create a version of Black Mirror that is based in Asia context. I'm from Thailand, by the way. So this show is coming up in this November. And one of the episodes actually addressed the challenge of Buddhism going forward. It will be a story of a monk in the presence of powerful AI, which is very contemporary now. And you can see it's kind of funny. The monk is doing the same pose as Steve Jobs. So without giving you a spoiler, that's the premise. What would happen when the monk becomes the innovator? What kind of technology would he create? Would he fall into the same trap as other technologists, or would he create something that's enlightening? So you can check it out in November on Netflix. So I think my research is trying to address these three things, right? Trying to understand what the AI is, looking at scientific and using a wide variety of methods to understand AI, come up with intervention using AI to augment human intelligence, and also engage in this sort of like fictional or collective imagination of what the AI could be, providing alternative future for what would happen. So again, AI and IA are very, very important. That's, I think, my takeaway message is maybe we should focus less on AI, but more on IA, so we can become smarter. I would end with this picture. Right? We talk a lot about how we can make technology become more sophisticated to the point that could be enlightened, or to the point where they can attain, meditation and things like that. But at the same time, we are living in the world where, people are become, mechanized, right? We are turning people into robots. This is a picture of student, right? And it's very common in Asia where students are, put into tests, right? They need to, be able to gain a high grade and learn in this sort of, mechanistic way, right? And it's not just about students, it's also like, with military and things happening around the world, we are turning people into robots, but at the same time, we're trying to make robot into a human, right? I think this is a very funny paradox, and we should kind of use this to kind of wake us up. Why are we creating humanized machine? Why we as a human are turning ourselves into a mechanized human, into a machine, right? Why are we doing that? And I want to end with this question. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.